Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you are doing well. And we are still planting bulbs here in my Zone 8A garden. It is very cold here and also very windy. So you'll hear a lot of sound in the background. That's just from the wind, and I'm wearing my heavy coat because it's super cold. However, it's sunny, so I thought I'd come out and do a quick video. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe so we can grow. And if you are a current subscriber, thank you so very much for your support. I have 3 projects today that I'll be tackling. The first project I'll be working on is a lasagna spring bulb container for a dear friend of mine. And so I bless my friends with gardening ideas and also gardening projects that I work on. So this particular friend, I'll be blessing with a container of spring bulbs that will hopefully bring her a lot of joy during the spring. The second project I'll be doing is I'll be planting 200 crocus bulbs in a bare spot in my backyard. So this spot in the backyard, the builder did not add any sod, and I didn't get around to either adding any sod or seeding that area. So I'll start by layering my 200 crocus bulbs on top of that bare soil. Then I will cover it with 2 to 3 inches of topsoil. I'll also be adding some spring bulbs in 2 containers that I have next to our garage door. So in those 2 containers that are next to our garage door, I've already planted some daffodils. I'd like to add a mixture of bulbs that are early spring bloomers that will emerge and bloom well before the daffodil bulbs. So let's go ahead and tackle our first project. Here's the container in which I will be planting 30 spring bulbs for a dear friend of mine. And the bulbs that I'll be planting in that container is a daffodil mix, and it's called the Perfect Pair Blend. So you'll notice that the daffodils are the yellow trumpet, and then those blue flowers are Chinodoxa, commonly known as Celia or Glory of the Snow. So the Glory of the Snow are smaller bulbs, and they tend to emerge and bloom well before the daffodils will. Here are what the daffodil bulbs look like that came in that mix. Again, you'll see the roots. This is the basal plate. The tip or the pointy end is where the leaves and the flowers, the stems, everything will come from here. And again, as a reminder, the bulb has everything that it needs. All the food and nutrient that it needs are inside the bulb. When planting, the roots goes into the ground and the pointy end or the tip faces up. Now here are the smaller bulbs that came in that mix. So we'll plant them 2 to 3 times the height of the bulb, which means that each one of these bulbs will be planted about 3 inches deep. Whereas our daffodil bulbs is about 1.5 inches tall, almost 2 inches tall. Therefore, we'll plant them at the planting depth of 6 to 8 inches deep. In the container, I have a well-draining potting mix that is about 2 to 3 inches, which will leave me 8 inches of growing space for our daffodil bulbs. Now the mixture came with 8 daffodil bulbs, so I'll go ahead and I'll place the daffodil bulbs in the bottom of our container, just like this. I'm not paying attention to the spacing, and my dear friend is going to love this when it's springtime. While she was on vacation, I was plant sitting, and I gave her plant back because I had taken it outside of the container just to make space, and I forgot to give her the planter back. So I'll hand her the planter back with these bulbs in, and just ask her to leave it outside where it will get some sun, and I'll go over and I'll water it once a week. And in the spring she should be really surprised. So now that we have our daffodil bulbs placed on top of the soil, which is about 3 inches is the amount of soil that we have in there, I'll go ahead and I will add about 5 inches of soil to cover the daffodil bulbs, and then I will top it off with the smaller bulbs. Our Chinodoxa bulbs, or Glory of the Snow, are slightly tucked into the soil, and again we have 2 to 3 inches from the base of these bulbs to the rim of our pot. So we'll go ahead and top it off with some topsoil. We'll water it in, and I'll hand it over to my friend where she'll place it in a sunny spot, and we'll water it once a week. Also, the Glory of the Snow is one of the early spring blooming bulbs, just like the crocus bulbs. They also naturalize really well when it's established, so they can be planted outdoors in the landscape, in a border, or someplace where they can naturalize, because they tend to create seedlings, so they naturalize really well. In order to make these bulbs happy, they need plenty of sun or partial sun with well draining soil, and they also like moderate water. Our container is finally finished, and yes, it looks like there is nothing going on in that container because all we're looking at is bare soil. The daffodils should be about 20 inches tall, and the cilia will be about 4 inches tall. For our next project, in the 2 planters that we have next to our garage door, we have already planted some daffodil bulbs in these containers, but today we'll be adding 32 plants that are very early spring blooming, so they will bloom much earlier than the daffodil bulbs. So these are much smaller bulbs, as you can see, which means that the planting depth should be about 3 inches. So I'll remove 3 inches of soil, I'll add the bulbs, and then I will replace the soil on top of the bulbs. This color combination here definitely says spring, definitely says Easter. So I'm really looking forward to having this array cake of flowers in these 2 containers. For my third project today, I'm going to plant 200 crocus bulbs in this spot here, which is a bare spot in our backyard that the builder did not sod, and I have not gotten around to sodding myself or planting any grass seeds. So it's all clay, and I will place the 200 crocus bulbs, and then I will cover them over with some more topsoil. Here are the crocus bulbs that I will be planting in that bare patch of ground. I have 4 bags here, and each bag contains 50 bulbs. There we go. taking a closer look now. So you'll see this is a mixture. I'll have white, purple, and there's a variegated one. So there are 3 different crocuses in each package. So notice it says crocus mix because we have the white, the purple, and the variegated. Now, crocus bulbs are really small, and they're really not called bulbs. They're actually called corms. So here's what the crocus bulb or corm looks like. It has the basal plate of the root end and then the pointy end, which is the tip. They should grow 4 to 6 inches tall, and notice it says plants in depth 2 to 3 inches. They should be planted in full sun and spaced 4 to 6 inches apart. Cold hardiness 40 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Bloom time early spring. Crocuses are one of those spring bulbs that we call a harbinger of spring, much like the grape hyacinth. What I actually decided to do was to scatter the bulbs on top of the ground, just so it would be more random. And then I'm actually using my manual bulb planter to dig a hole and to drop the bulbs in. After adding 40 bags of topsoil and planting the 200 crocus bulbs, we went ahead and spread some grass seeds, which is the blue that you're seeing there. So the dark color, the black, that's the topsoil, and the blue that you're seeing is the grass seeds. The reason we did that is because it's very important to cover the soil. On top of the grass seeds, we added 5 bags of pine straw. We are unable to see the 200 crocus bulbs that are planted about 3 inches below ground, but you can clearly see the black topsoil, the blue grass seeds, and the brown wispy thing on top. That is the pine straw. And we're expecting rain tomorrow, so it will be watered in. And the pine straw, I'm not expecting to blow away in the wind. I had 3 things in mind for this project. One was to cover the soil to prevent erosion from wind and from rain. Second, to add something that is easy. And I found that naturalizing the area with the crocus bulbs was much easier than adding a flower bed. The third thing was to add something for early spring color. Thanks for watching, and I hope whatever projects you're working on today gives you great joy.